Well, if the EU didn't take the UK as being serious on no deal before this weekend, I would have thought they certainly would now. Front page after front page. I've got one here with me from the Express. You can see there, Boris, no deal, Brexit is a good outcome. And just 38 days now till no deal. Boris Johnson to give the EU just 38 days from today to strike a Brexit deal, warning that if there's no breakthrough by the 15th of October, Britain will accept a no-deal scenario and move on. Boris quoted in brief that remark saying, "We are now entering the final phase of our negotiations with the EU. The EU have been very clear about the timetable. I am too." Boris says there needs to be an agreement with our European friends by the time of the European Council on October 15th. If there's going to be enforced by the end of the year, of course, that's when the transition period ends. And Boris, there needs to be an agreement with our European friends by that date. So there is no sense in thinking about timelines that go beyond that point. If we can't agree by then I do not see there'll be a free trade agreement between us, and we should both accept that and move on. Now, this follows on from an interview with the Mail on Sunday with David Frost at the weekend. He basically made the point that, and I've talked about it on this channel before, that the EU in some ways it's felt like still think they're dealing with Theresa May's pushovers. You know, the lackeys that just sort of got pushed around all over the shop. Frost saying, "We came in after a government negotiating team that had blinked and had its bluff called at critical moments, and the EU had learned to not take our word seriously." I mean, how damning is that, by the way? But that's another story. So Frost saying, so a lot of what we're trying to do this year is to get the EU to realise that what we mean what we say, and they should take our position seriously. To demonstrate the government's readiness for no deal, the PM has created a number 10 transition hub with officials across key departments said to be working at pace to prepare to trade without arrangements in place. The unit, but with hand-picked officials across Whitehall, working with Michael Gove, who has led the government's work on no deal. David Frost also quoted as saying, "We are not going to be a client state. We are not going to compromise on fundamentals of having control over our own laws. We are not going to accept level playing field provisions that lock us into the way the EU do things. We are not going to accept provisions that give them control over our money or the way we can organise things here in the UK." And that should not be controversial, he makes that point. That's what being an independent country is about. That's what the British people voted for, and that's what will happen at the end of the year, come what may. So Frost, they're really making the point, as we have on this channel before, that this is the prize of Brexit. It's to have that flexibility, it's to have that freedom, it's to have that ability, unconstrained by EU rules and regulations. And for the EU to try and take that away as the condition of a trade deal is completely unacceptable. And I'm glad to see the government still completely rejecting it. Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab saying this week's talk a wake-up call for the EU, saying that all the UK is asking for is to be treated like any other country in free trade negotiations. Raab saying no other country would accept being bound or controlled by the EU's rules. That's a straightforward point of principle. Telling the Andrew Marr show on BBC One, we'd much rather have a deal, and that's why we're continuing these negotiations with the EU. Now, Conservative MP John Redwood making the point, no deal with the EU is a much better outcome than what the EU is proposing. Time for the UK to move on from talks going nowhere. And Nigel Farage, speaking about the UK's chief negotiator, saying, David Frost, good to see him talking about UK independence. It took a long time, but without the UK Independence Party, none of this would have happened. It's a great tribute to the People's Army. Guys, these are all positive noises. They're all positive sounds. It does seem like Boris Johnson and David Frost have absolutely no intention in buckling, in signing up to EU rules in the so-called level playing field. And isn't it a stark contrast to the previous government, that a government now are actually setting out a deadline and saying to the EU, 38 days to strike a Brexit deal, otherwise no deal. But I want to know from you, do you think the government, as we head towards this, are going to hold their nerve? It must be said again, it's on the front pages, it's over the weekend, extensive coverage. Do you have faith now in the government to hold and go for no deal and hold the line? Or do you think there's going to be a deal last minute? Would love to know what you think, but it looks to me like the government are intent on gaining that competitive advantage by escaping EU rules and regulations and refusing to sign up to level playing field. Let me know what you think though, and as ever, if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Remember to click subscribe and the bell so you don't miss the next report. Cheers guys, and thanks for watching.